Hi everyone, my name is Mike. I'm going to take you through today's foam rolling and stretching session. So for today, I want you to have a nice clear surface. It's non-slip. You can use a yoga mat or an ab mat if you want for a little bit of comfort as we do some floor work. And then of course you'll need a foam roller. So we're going to lead out with the foam rolling as our warm-up and then head into a series of static stretching to help you relieve any tension, reduce any soreness, and increase your flexibility. All right, so set up your area and then join me on the mat for the foam rolling session. Okay, first up, what I want us to do is focus on rolling out our glutes. So what I tend to do, and as I'll show you on a bit of a side angle here, is I create a bit of a figure four, and then I'll rotate slightly to that side so it really exposes that glute on that side. And what I'll do there is I'll just roll through the entire length of the glute. And if you sense any soreness or any tightness, what I want you to do is actually stop and hold the foam roller there and really try to release that area of any tension that it's feeling, okay? So sometimes you might not be sore, you might not have any knots or pressure areas, in which case just roll the length of the muscle back and forth, 3 or 4 times, okay? So as we go through this, you might find that you're a little bit behind me because you're noticing more soreness, or ahead of me because maybe I've stopped and worked on a muscle more than you need to. And that's totally fine. That's good. I just have one little point there, so I'm just gonna sit on that, try to get it to release. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna do the same one on the other side now. Of course, we wanna mirror everything on one side and the other. So again, creating that figure four and just leaning. It'll really help you expose the glute to the foam roller. There we go. Hopefully this feels really good to you. I find this type of session is the way I love to recover. I'll grab a foam roller, throw on my favorite TV show or some music, and I'll just stretch and roll. Helps me recover and feel great so I can go hit more of those videos, more workouts. All right. Often what can get tight on us, especially if we run or if we jump around a lot, is our T-bands or sides of the leg. So what I want you to do is just turn on your side and then do the same thing. If you need to reduce the pressure to support more with your off leg, in my case, I've been rolling pretty consistently, so my IT bands aren't too sore. Again, if you notice a knot or a pressure point, hang out there a little bit, hang an extra few seconds, try to get it to release, okay? Try to work the entire length of the muscle. I don't go right to the insertion point. So you'll notice I don't go right onto the knee or anything like that. I'm just trying to work the length of the muscle until I almost get to the insertion point, and then I go back. Don't want to put any pressure on the joint, that's all. Okay, I'm gonna switch on to the other side. So if your IT bands are really tight, stay there, hold an extra few seconds. Totally okay with that. Trying to work any tension out of the muscle, getting your fascia to release. So if you're not familiar with the term fascia, fascia is like a webbing that goes throughout your body, and it helps connect and hold everything in place. It also helps to separate certain parts of your body from other parts of your body. And basically when we work out, we can create little knots or tightnesses in that fascia, and foam rolling helps to release it. It helps realign everything and relax it, so then you can perform when you need to in your next workout. So I noticed, like for this, my left side was a little more tight than my right side. So I'm just spending a little bit extra time on it. Good. All right, let's get the front of the leg. So we'll work the thighs now. I'm just gonna take one thigh at a time. I have a slightly shorter roller, but I'm just gonna work off the one side of it. And I roll including the hip flexor right at the top of the hip. No soreness there, but if there is, hang on there, release it. And then I like to roll the entire length of the thigh and all the way back. I also like to change the angle that I'm working on the thigh a little bit. So you notice I was doing more the left side of this thigh. Now I'm gonna do more the right side of this thigh. Just making sure all parts of the quad get released. Nice, okay. Quads weren't too tight today. Let's do the other one. What I like about foam rolling is I find it's just a few minutes. Great way to add in kind of a warm up to your stretch before you get going. Oh, that feels so good. Okay, that's good for me. Now one of the other things I want to do is I want to make sure we get our hamstrings. So working the back of the leg. You can do them both together or singularly. I tend to do them on their own, each leg. Find I can control the pressure a bit more. So if you're feeling like you need to get a bit more pressure, I just cross one leg over the top and it'll act like a bit of a weight to push that other leg into the foam roller. And just rolling all the way down to the top of the knee and then all the way back to the hip. Now we all get tight and sore in different areas, so you might find you have different, pinch points than I do. I tend to feel it more in my T-bands and my quads, and my hamstrings tend to be pretty relaxed. Some people are completely different, so you may want to spend a little additional time on whatever muscle is really tight for you. Okay, let's switch side. I'm gonna do that other hamstring now. Okay, that's it for foam rolling for me. One thing I will say is I don't tend to roll the low back a whole lot with this because it can put a little pressure on the spine. There's different massage like tools you can use to do that. You could use this to do your calves, although I find just hand massaging or using one of the roller sticks a little more effective. You could use this to release any tension in your upper back. For today, I thought we'd focus just on the knees and hips, and then we'd get into our static stretching session. Okay, so when you're ready, coming back, what I'd like from you is just a nice child's pose to start. So really sinking your hips down and back so your knees are wide, big toes are together. We're gonna be holding each stretch for about 30 seconds, okay? We need to be holding stretches for longer than 20 seconds if we want to increase our flexibility. Anything shorter just isn't really allowing the muscle to release enough to get to that longer, more full range of motion. Keep breathing, never hold your breath. All right, now coming into a cobra style stretch. So in this case, what I like to do is look up to the sky as much as you can, and then release, feeling a nice full stretch in the front. In all these stretches today, I just want mild tension. None of this should hurt. I don't want you to force a joint really hard through a range of motion it's not ready for. Just releasing tension, allowing the muscles to fully lengthen. Okay, back into that child's pose again. Coming right back. What you will notice is that as you release into a stretch, your body will relax a little bit, and you might notice partway through the hold, you're able to get a little further. That's your body starting to trust it and overriding the emergency response that it tends to have to stretching. And that's when you're starting to get that really nice benefit. So last time in our child's pose. Awesome, coming back forward now. Nice deep breaths, filling your belly, filling your chest, and emptying your belly, emptying your chest. So for myself, I tend to stretch every other day pretty consistently. I tend to build it into my evening when I'm relaxing, watching some TV or YouTube, something like that. Build it in somewhere where it's convenient for you. Especially if you're going to use this routine as your stretching routine, you know, you can put it on and follow along with me on mute and have your favorite show or music playing on the side. Okay, awesome. So now what I want to do is I want to do one to help release the hips a little bit. So if you're going to come to a seated position, and then I want you to create like a figure four, so crossing one leg over the other, and then sit up nice and tall, bracing with your hands, fingers pointing away from you, and then just bring that knee up a little bit so that you start feeling a little bit of that stretch in the hip. Okay? Now sit nice and tall, don't be slouching, okay? Really nice. And if you notice partway through you can get a little bit more out of it, then please do. And you might be down here, that's okay. Get the range of motion that feels good for you. At no point should this hurt in the knee whatsoever. Okay, releasing that. Let's set that stretch up on the other side. Feels so good just to bring the hip in. This is one that I tend to struggle with, so I try to make sure I include it in all my stretching routines. Hope this really keeps the pressure off my low back, allows me to open up a bit. Okay, let's create a twist. So in this one case, have one leg straight, have one leg come over top, and then you can reach around and hug the leg that's up, and then just try to open up. Or if you want even more of a stretch, you can bring that arm to the opposite side and create a little bit of a push there and open up. Just keep your gaze in line with your chest. And again, this shouldn't hurt, it's nice and controlled. All right, same stretch other side. So you'll notice I'm supporting with the back hand, trying to stay nice and tall still. And again, either hugging or pushing, create that gentle twist. Really well done. So hopefully your stretching sessions help bring a level of calmness to you. Just really help you like release tension, relax, that sort of focus. Okay, let's stretch out our hip flexors. Those are the muscles right at the front of the hip. They help us every time we raise our legs up, and they can tend to be really tight if we do a lot of walking or running or biking, that sort of thing. So in this case, what I want you to do is just create like 90-90 with your legs, and then just slowly sink forward. Keep the upper body nice tall posture. You can even support with your forearms on your thigh that's up, and just get a nice gentle stretch on the back front of that back leg, okay? So what we're really trying to do here is release that hip flexor so it's not getting too tight, and then, you know, shifting the pelvis too far forward, getting you out of alignment. Okay, same stretch, other side. Again, can, maintain your nice, even breathing. And just holding these stretches so you have mild tension, nothing too tense. This shouldn't hurt in any way. Think of this as like your active recovery workout. I'm normally yelling at you to go, 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 but today you don't have to. Awesome. Okay, next stretch I'm gonna have is a kneeling shoulder opener. So what I want, if you can, is you're kneeling, and I want you to tuck your toes. So we'll do this stretch where we eventually flex the toes, but in this case, I want you to tuck them. This is gonna help stretch out everything in the feet, which is really good. And then I want you to interlace your hands behind your hips, and then just try to get your hands away from your hips. And this is so good for our posture. You'll notice in today's workout, I've emphasized things that help us elongate the postural muscles, put us in good positions to release the muscles of the back of the body, and then also help us deal with those troubled areas. So you'll notice I tend to have us open up at the chest and shoulders and those sort of things, release the low back a lot more than I'll have us stretch in ways where we're promoted to be slouched. All right, just release that for a moment. We're gonna go right back into the posture. What I want you to do now is release your feet, and you can just sit on them. And then we'll just go right back to that shoulder opener again, okay? If this actually really does bug your feet, you can always stand up at any point to shake your feet out and just hold the hands portion, the arm portion of this stretch. Awesome. Okay, one of our few active stretches we're gonna do today is called cat-cow. So what we're gonna have you do is tuck your hips under, tuck your chin, round your spine out like your cat, and then going the opposite, trying to tip your tailbone up to the sky. Let your middle spine come to the floor and look up to the sky, and then just go back and forth for a few seconds here between those two positions. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to flex and extend every vertebrae in our spine, get them through their full range of motion, help release any tension in the area. Let's go through that one more time. So rounding out, and then cow. Awesome. Okay, let's come up to a standing position. I have a couple of standing movements for us. So this is probably my favorite stretch. What I want you to do is nice wide stance. So this is a wide angled forward fold. So nice wide, and then what I want you to do is just lean forward, and if you can, release your low back, middle back, upper back, and neck, and just let yourself hang. If you need to have soft knees, you can, and support on the thighs. But if you can, just let your hands come down. You can even interlace your hands so you're not touching the floor, and just let your upper body hang. So this is going to stretch out those muscles of the back side of the body, the hamstrings that might be tight, release the tension in the low back. Good work. Okay, soften those knees, slowly come up to standing. Let's palms to the floor. I want you to grab those thumbs and try to pull them away from your elbows. So what you're getting is a bit of a pull on the bicep muscle. And then I want you to also open up. So I'll show you from the side here. You can see I'm opening up. So we're getting a stretch on the bicep and the chest and shoulders. Good, just keep breathing. We're gonna go back into that wide angle one more time and then come back to this as well. I'm really trying to feature today the movements that help posture and help release any tension in the low back and hips. And of course, open you up at the shoulders so we're not slouching. Okay, let's get at it. Wide angle again, so nice and wide. And then tipping at the hip. I can show you from the side if you like. And then just releasing, letting any tension go in the upper back, middle back, neck. Again, if you're really tight in your here, that's totally okay. Come as far down as feels comfortable. Get a nice gentle pull going. Good work, almost there. Okay, slowly coming out of this, soften the knees. Gently coming back up. We'll get into that bicep and chest stretch. So again, palms to the ground, grab the thumb, pull it away from the elbow, and then open up at the chest. So it looks like this from the side. Trying to get those hands behind you. Good work. Just a few more seconds on this hold. All right, great. Release any tension. Let's quickly just grab a shoelace. You can use a wall or something for support. We're just gonna stretch that thigh out, okay? So grab one leg, doesn't matter to me which one, and we'll hold it. I like to use two hands. I find I can get a bit more of a pull and feel a bit more of a full stretch in my thigh. Amazing. Just a few more movements, team. We're all done our stretch session. Okay, shaking that out. Let's hit that on this side. Maintaining that deep and smooth breathing. If you haven't been stretching a lot and you start adding this in, I think you'll find it really helps with recovery, helps with how sore you might feel after intense workouts, and will really help your range of motion in the movements you are doing. So if you're struggling getting into certain positions, doing this type of routine will really help that out. Okay, releasing that. So one of my favorite stretches is a frog squat, and I've worked on it a lot over the last year. It's literally just what it sounds. You're gonna be coming down, and just come down as far as you can. So you might be up here, you might be really tight, that's okay. We wanna try to hold this. Sometimes if you're struggling to get down this low, and trust it, sometimes holding something in your hands, like a small weight or something, will help balance it out. Maybe your foam roller, something like that, can help you get in the position. Once you're in this position too, what we can do is we can kind of just sneak forward a little bit. So we're just actively working our ankles through full range of motion. There we go, just hanging out down here. What you'll notice is the more you work on a frog squat, the deeper you'll be able to go. And it's really helping you with your hip, knee, and ankle mobility. And you'll really notice it more in like your lunging, your squatting, those sort of movements. It'll really help those for you. Okay, slowly coming out of that. Just shaking out any tension. And guess what? I want you to go right back into that one last time for today. So coming down as far forward as you feel comfortable. Now, one thing to notice about a frog squat hold is you can see how deep I can get here. This isn't how deep I can squat with weights. So don't misunderstand the difference between passively being able to get to a certain range of motion and then your actual mobility, meaning your ability to move and perform an activity through that full range of motion. So in my case, I actually can't squat with weights this deep, but this really does help me relieve any tension, and it does help work on that range of motion for me. So it has improved how far I can squat. I just don't generally squat quite this far yet. I don't quite have that mobility. Again, remember you can lean forward, really working on that ankle mobility, just going back and forth, just gently. Awesome. And the last stretch I have for us today is a lat stretch. I was going to show it on a wall, but you could even do it kneeling with a chair or a couch or anything like that. What I'm going to have you do is just come here, and then I want you to just open up. So it looks like this from the side. You're just opening up, applying pressure this way. So you're opening up at the shoulder joint. It shouldn't hurt. Just opening it up, okay? So if you're going against the wall, hold that there. I'll show it with a foam roller, thinking like, of course, the couch or a chair or something would be a little higher. But if you're doing it on the floor, you could just do like a chair, child's pose with your lower body, and then just try and increase the range of motion at the shoulder joint. So if you perform shoulder presses or overhead movements where you're like getting a little bit of shoulder pain, sometimes that can be due to your range of motion in your shoulder area. And this is one of the movements that'll really help correct that and open up the shoulders so you can get into positions that will allow those movements to really feel good for you and allow you to start excelling and pushing a little bit more weight. Keep breathing. There's a few more seconds here. Okay, releasing out for a second. And then one last time. Last stretch for the day. Just opening up at the lats, opening up that shoulder. So again, it doesn't matter to me if you're doing it on a wall or doing more of this pose but using a chair or a couch. That's totally fine. Awesome. Slowly coming out of that. Gently coming to standing if you already aren't. And what I want you to do to finish this session is just giving me 3 meaningful shoulder rolls. So it's gonna look like this. Breathing in on the way up. Out on the way down. Letting go of any tension. Congrats, you did it, you made it. Hopefully that helps you create a little bit of a foam rolling and stretching session. Like I said earlier, I really focus on trying to improve our posture, reduce those areas that tend to get really tight and really sore. You'll notice I don't stretch us out a whole lot in any position where we're rounded because we're already slouching enough, so I'm really trying to help us open up. I hope this works for you, and we'll see you soon.